Let's check this out. Let's go.
Then you would just slide your bar over, hit latest, and then hit short again. And another line will pop up unless it's already added, and then it'll just add it to your trade. So
I got in at
you do 4 trades, that's still one trade. Go ahead.
I think I got in at 2707.
So at 20, you could put another buy order in at 2709, another one at 2711, another one at 2715. That way, if it starts to go up, it'll add more to your overall trade bag, and your entry point will start to go up also.
All right, I get what you're saying now. I understand that point now. Can you go through the mechanics of it again? So I'm at the latest. It says 2704, 2705. It's bouncing in that range, and I only have a 20. I'm only 20x on it with $20. So.
Oh shit! So you'll be plenty fine with a. So do you have a stop loss set?
Yes, I do. I put that at what 20, 30. Let me look at it. 20%.
Yeah,
I put a 50% profit and a 20% stop loss.
Nice. And
so
with that low of leverage, you can get away with that.
Okay. So that was just a test run. That's why I only went to 20x. A lot of buttons sometimes to mess with too when you're brand new to this.
And that's also why sometimes people, they'll see a trade, and I try to always post my trades before I take them, just because I'm probably one of the guys that have been in here the longest, and I'm confident now that if I put one. But so just know that, like, some of us, when we say, yeah, I think I'm going to enter this trade, that we buy into it if it starts to head up a little bit. And then we'll keep putting in new orders to move our point of entry. And
like it just did. It just went to 2712. So if I would have done what you said to do.
I bought more in right then.
Okay.
I hit latest. It says 2712.
Okay.
I'll slide my bar and I'll hit open short, and I'll add another order to it.
Slide. Oh, okay. Slide the bar over to 100%.
And I'll do it again. I'll add another $4 to it. And then I'll do it again. I'll add another $10 because I really don't want to lose this trade.
All right. So I'm at 2704, and then I got to put a dollar amount in, right? And once I hit latest, put a dollar amount in.
You can just use your little slider bar underneath quantity.
Oh, okay. So 7%, 10%.
Yeah, whatever you want to add to it.
Always use the slider bar.
I'm good at using that little bar.
Okay, always use it. I heard somebody say that. All right, so if I leave it on 20%, now what would I do? Look at another chart.
Yeah, and then once, because we're waiting for it to start heading back south again. But if you add more to your bag, you gotta readjust your. But you're at you still want to do it, but.
Okay, I just opened single limit order quantity cannot be whatever that little disclaimer said. Cannot be less than 27,130, whatever that means.
Oh, damn, that's just turning around on me.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Down $5 on it, down $6 on it.
Someone said, I can't remember who was talking, and they said that they'll get up to like 200% or 99% but then they lose it all because they haven't cashed out. Do you know you can just, on Mex, you can just drag your stop loss down. Like when you've got up like If you're at 50%, you can drag it up to 10%. If you're to 90%, you can drag it up to 50%. Once you set your stop loss,
Movie is going backwards.
It sure is.
it's going backwards like that.
Yeah.
But
There's 2019
Jump
now.
on that and show you, but going backwards.
yeah, the 3-minute green trend just hit out of this candle.
What are we watching?
We are watching RPL, sir.
RPL.
VCL, are we taking up your live trade time?
What's going on?
You were going to do live trade, weren't you?
No, man, I'm here to learn.
Well, listen, I just got wicked
I'm-
out on my 20%.
I'm in a trade. I'm CFX long, baby.
No, man. Listen,
I seen you
that's
guys
what
make
I
all
am.
that money on the way down. I figured I'd catch the bounce. Yeah, man, I'm riding CFX right now. 232, 124%.
Oh, my man. One of these days I'll be able to say the same thing.
But yeah, get used to the slider. Always use the slider. This is why it's important when you're using your bag. We're always using. We know how much we have, right? So we always have a $100 bag. So 10% slider, we know is $10, right? 20% is our 20. Once we have a, you put $50 in, that means your slider is going to be half of what it is, right? So instead of a $10 on 10%, you need to go to 20 to get $10. You know what I mean? So start getting good with knowing, keeping a certain amount in the bag, so that you can use the same sliders over and over.
Yeah.
And you'll get good at it once you start moving it around.
Yo, take a look at RPL. That's what I had the boys looking at it. It's got all the high time frames. Ideal. It already had a pullback from its big pump, and we were trying to find an entry to get its next leg.
What is it? What's the ticker? RPL?
Yeah.
RPL. So Robin, Person, Larry.
Yes.
All right, so we got. So the one thing you got to remember. Okay, so one of the best ways to catch a trade is a bounce, or the last hoorah, right? So what I want you to guys here. This is a great example. Look at the 2 hour. Okay. The 2 hour starts to break down, right? Gets down to about the 90 line, right? Breaks through it, and then you see how it turns and curls up there.
Yes.
See, that's a hurrah, right? So it's catching that last push, right?
By the way, which candles are you watching? Because we're different candle watching, some of us here.
I'm always a Hakiashi.
Okay. So I see the RSI bounce there that you was just referring to, that last hurrah with the red candle in the middle of 6 green candles, correct?
Yeah,
On
and
the 2 hour.
yeah, this is why, the trades that you guys want to catch, right? There's like, the next video I'm going to do is going to be breaking down. There's many trades inside this trade, right? The first one is when the 2 hour breaks down. That's going to be a big pull down, right? We can take a look at that in a little bit, but you'll have a big pull down. You can see on the 2 hour, you can see your green, your volume on your Q on your moons start to drop right there. That's one trade, right? But always expect it to reject off the moon, right? It doesn't become a red moon, it's going to reject. That's the last hurrah, right? So there's always a pullback, and then there's a push, right? So the one I'm always looking for, you have a 2 hour trade, right? And then you have your 4 hour trade. Right now you don't have a 4 hour trade because the 4 hour hasn't crossed. So this thing has life, right? So this could thing
Oh
get,
man, hey, real quick, I was on regular candles,
Mhm.
and on regular candles, all of those indications were already there.
yeah,
And this
yeah, yeah.
last little leg up has made that. And while you were talking, I switched it over back to Haikanashi, and yeah,
Difference.
it didn't have that.
Yeah, I like the Ashi because they're a lot more sensitive to where they kind of like they have to have the data. They call it eliminating noise, right? They kind of eliminate all the other things that are making these other indicators kind of respond. and they're very clean, right? Because they're very distinctive. So what they're waiting on is exact information, right? So that's why I use those candles. You know, they're just more accurate, right? Now on here, the difference is that you see your 4 hour breaking down, but you want it to cross, right? We don't have a cross yet. So either way, you're still kind of waiting for this 4 hour to break through. So we don't have that breakthrough yet. So that's really what we're waiting for here, is that 4 hour to break through. And how you can tell is, I want you guys to start looking, like you see on the 4 hour how you have that the red line on our moon, right? See how it's like flat? That's kind of start watching that, right? And that's really
green moon.
Yeah, you have the green moon
candles to the right. You got that flat right there.
Yeah. So and what you're gonna how the line, it starts to come up, and if it's moving up with the green line, because I changed mine. My colors are green and red, right? So I think they're originally blue and orange or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the negative line, right? If it's traveling with the buyers, if the seller, I always call them the buyers and sellers, right? So the green line to me is my buyers, the red line are my sellers. If they're traveling together, right, then we're having pushes, right? And right here you can see that one's going flat while the other one's kind of like coming down a little bit, right? That lets me know that we're going to be consolidating here, right? It hasn't decided to make its crossover, right? So if you go back on the other side to where you can see here, when you start to see the movement of that flatness, you got to get that top line, you know, coming down heavily, right? And it doesn't have that here. It's kind of slowly drifting there, right? But that's a big space between the two lines before they get to a moon. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're waiting for a moon to cross here, but they're not. You know, you still got some time here, man. This is there's a gap there, right?
Yeah.
So start looking at that gap.
This looked like the effects from the other night, man.
Yeah. No, this still has a hurrah here, man. This still has hurrah, right? So that's why for me.
But we were looking for a second entry. When I first told the boys about this, it was before that big dip down. So everything that you're saying has gone sideways or gone the other way.
Yeah, you guys got the 2 hour.
All right, let's look for a second entry, because it's having its retest now. Like right now,
Yeah.
it's having those things. But
Yeah.
I mean, I apologize, you guys, for the second entry, and that's what I was asking, is when would that be? But a lot of those things were the other way when we got it. It was.
Yeah, you caught the first 2 hours.
Retest.
Yeah, you guys got what he's talking about is you guys caught that first 2 hour pull down, which was which would be, if you look at your 2 hour, right? You can see right there the 2 hour crosses right at the 94 line, starts to head down. That was that first pull down. So if you go to your 2 hour, you have three candles, right? You have two red, a big green, and then a red, right? The two reds were the pull down. That next green, that push, right? The next entry, right? What you guys have to start looking at is the next entry is actually, and this is kind of what we were looking at the other day, Boogie. So what I would do here, this is where I start to realize where the resistance is, right? So take a look at the 2 hour, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles, right? The first big green candle has its huge wick. You see where it breaks through the 200 moving average?
Yeah.
Okay. So I already know right now that 200 moving average is the resistance. That's what's good about knowing that, having a line, having a you know, an EMA, right? When you have an EMA, I already know that hitting this EMA right here is going to give us our resistance, right? So it already hit it once. The next candle, the red one, had a wick, hit it again, right? So at that point, and this happened at 9 a.m., right? You see, look at the Wednesday 9 a.m., right? You see this morning, you see that second candle, right?
Yep.
So I would already know here, if I was looking at this, I would have been saying to myself, the top of that wick would have been the 200 moving average. That would be my entry. And that is at 27.90.
That's wrong. It was 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Wrong time frame, buddy.
Yeah. But you guys see what I'm saying?
I'll finish sharing my screen if you want to share. I'm just going to nip away for a second.
Yeah, you're good, man. I mean, so it's just so when we're looking at it, and I'm not doing too much. I'll share on there. So that's where you guys can start saying to yourself, like, if you have a coin and you want to go back later, right? That's the entry I would be looking for. You see that? And you get that entry on this candle that we're on right now that's pushing back up. It hit that. It tapped the 27. It's looking to tap the 27.90. Like, that's the target.
Why is my candle slightly different than what's on your screen?
And I
So it's
have. So those are your regular candles. That's what I was trying to show. Like, if you're
Okay.
looking at like what you guys were looking at on candle side. Now when I go the Hakina
Gotcha.
sheet, this is going to change a little bit different. These are going to be, you'll have a different setup. So this is what I would be seeing, right? So the first thing comes
Okay.
down. I have my green candle, breaks through the 200. The next candle rejects slightly below it. But that's the area, right? Slightly below that last wick is where I would target. So my target on here that I would be looking for, like you can put in there and say, okay, I'm going to look for it to retouch this section there, 27.84. So to me, this is the beginning of a channel, right? That's the top of the channel. So that would be like where I would be thinking of future targets or needs to break through here to get on a run, right? So basically as it starts to move sideways here, right? And I see the 2 hour. The 2 hour breakdown here is the beginning of the first pullback, which you get a cross right here. That's this red candle right here. Right? So you got that first red candle right there. Right? That was a nice little pullback. Now the second one, if you're in this trade, you'd be looking from the top of those wicks. Right? And if you would have placed it already, you would already be in this short. But you'd be a long way from going where you want because this still has to come down here and hit another 2 candles before it decides to come down. But you would be in here at 27.82 and you'd be up probably 30% on there. But that's where you would be working right now as far as like getting inside that right there. Give me 1 second here. I'm messing with this CFX.
By the way, while you're checking that out, just on a side note, your headset does go in and out quite often. We've been talking here, and I don't think anybody else's headset cut in and out as much as yours does.
It could be the, you know what, I'm going to pick up another, it doesn't show me that it goes in and out. But it could be I'm going to pick up another laptop. All right, so I got to check out the mics. But that's what we're looking at here is that, so this is something you guys can kind of look at is, as you look for future entries, because you did have a pullback here, right? That's what Boogie got you right here, that first pullback. So Boogie takes advantage of this because he knows it's a 2 hour pullback. This is the retest, and then there's going to be a run, right? I would be looking for the top of these candles to be my target for an entry, right? Now we got one tap on there already, right? So I would be looking for this to tap again with the next candle, right? And that should be the end of this hurrah. And then we would be going into the full takedown. So that is that. So for you, Boogie, I would say the second entry, right, is going to be the second entry has to be where you wait on at least the 3 hour to start to give up. Right, you see the 3 hour? It's crossing right now, but it hasn't broken down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's you're gonna be a
Would
deep
you
trader.
just switch to regular candles so I can show you?
Oh yeah. No, that's what we were looking at. Yeah.
I feel bad because I got one of the guys. A couple of them made a winning trade on it, and then I was like, all right, I think it's gonna set up because the 3 minutes resetting.
You're just on a
you know,
different
when you
candle.
Get on that first one, and then I was on regular candles, and I should have been on a sheet. I apologize.
Yeah, just let them know, man, that you guys are looking at. Just make sure the hashis are on there. But yeah, but overall, man, as you start to look for that second entry, just you have to let the volume because you got to be very So I guess it's saying like this, right? So I guess and this is kind of like the same scenario when we talk about profits, right? A lot of times, like I was watching Carlos, like these guys are getting really good, and what happens is when guys like Boogie, Carlos, and these guys get really good at making huge ass gains, they start seeing the money gets bigger, right? And this is where I was talking to Boogie the other day. Like, listen, it's about mastering these huge gains, and then as you build up your bags that you're scraping, when you start adding to your bags, you actually start taking less gains, right? Because it's like this: if you have a $100 bag and you want 100% gain because you want to make 100, if you have a $200 bag, you only need to make 50% the gains because you need to make 100, right? And it makes it easier for you to make that 100. And if you make 10 of those trades, right? Because that's kind of like the goal. The goal is to knock out 100 a trade, 100 a trade. Because you only need 10 trades in a week to get to your 1,000, right? And once you got that mastered, once you can get that $100 and you can take $100 and you can get 100 to 200, and then you go down to just taking 50% gains, and you work that $200 over 10 times in a week, you get to 1,000. You do it again, you have an extra 1,000 to the side, and you say, all right, now I'm going to do 1,000, but I'm going to start taking 30% gains because now I'm making 300. Right? You see how easy I tripled my profit, and now I'm taking a lot less risk.
Right.
See, that's where we have to kind of like, we have to understand this is about compounding. That's the beauty of what we do. The beauty of what we do is more money, less risk. Right? And the reason why we show in the system is designed to make, like, when I taught everybody in the beginning, it was to do 1 to 5% gains. And if you're doing 100x, it's 1 to 500%. Right? The reason why we teach that, and the reason why I show people that, is because you want to. If I needed you to run 3 miles every day and do it every single day and just be a champion at it, I wouldn't have you run 3 miles every day and then until you figured it, right? I'd make you run 10 miles. And when you master 10 miles, I'd say, great, man, I need you to do 3 miles a day. You'd be like, whew, that's a lot better. Right?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here. We're showing you how to get 100% on your trades so that way you become a monster mentally. And then when I say, well, guess what, guys? We only need 30. And you're like, woof, I can do that in my sleep. It's a release of, the stress and the burden, because now you're doing $1,000 trade, but you're like, I only need 30%. That's nothing. You see what I'm saying? Because this is a mental game, right? When you start playing with bigger money, it changes how you feel. It's an emotional, move until you get to the point where emotions don't exist, right? That's kind of like the reality of it. Like once you have that down, you just move in your air. But that's the next level of building. So that's kind of what the same thing is here, is that when we're looking for this trade, right? The beautiful thing is that this trade is going to produce a high percentage win, right? The trade that Boogie grabbed real quick was that first 2-hour trade, right? The thing about that 2-hour trade is that's just a scalp trade. That's not even a full trade, right? That's a scalp trade. That's a trade that comes up. It's a 2-hour bend. You grab the first pullback, easy money. Now the second trade, which is kind of getting to you where you start on your B trade, the entry is really easy. It's like, all right, you can look here and go, okay, what's the average top price, which we have here. We have an average of 27.84, so let's just say 27.80, right? We'll say 27.80 is a good entry, right? And we could say, all right, when it starts getting around 27.75, then I know I'm going to get a little more aggressive here, right? But the real entry here is going to be once this 2-hour comes all the way back up to the top, gets back to 100, and what I'm waiting for here is that time around, it'll be a weaker coin because the rest of the indicators and the volume is finally like finished its run, right? So the real entry is when the 4-hour starts to make its move down. But you see how the line here on my red and blue, see how far away that red from the blue is? So, yeah, we still have a gap there, right? So this is one thing you want to start looking at, seeing the gap, so you can be like, oh, that's about a 2-hour wait on it. This might be a 3-hour wait. But when you look at it, you can see here the 2 hours crossing over. So the next real run is going to be a higher time frame doing something for us, which would be at least the 3 hours starting to break through, right? That's what we need for the next entry, because we have time here, right? And the best part about it is it's the entry that we're going to get can come at a more patient time period, because we don't need the greatest entry. We need the best entry, meaning that the safest, the best one for us. Now, another thing that you can look at, hey Boogie, you on? So the next thing you can kind of look at is,
Yeah.
this is what I want to show you here, Boogie. So you see on the 1 hour here, see how the 1 hour comes up and it rejects the 1 hour green moon?
Yeah.
That's the same thing when it rejects going to a red moon and then all of a sudden it has its peak, right? So this is getting weaker here, right? So you're going to start stabilizing
When I
here.
first got on this trade, before this whole leg of those last 3 green candles, the 4 hour was already crossing. So that's why I got excited for the trade.
Oh yeah, you're good. So I mean, when you use regular candles,
it went the other way on us. To be honest with you.
yeah, no. So the thing is, so when you're using the other candles, right? They're not off, right? They're not wrong, right? If you go to candles and you see what you've seen, that's going to happen,
Yeah.
right? The problem is, it's going to be longer than you think because they're not blocking all the noise out. But they are a good, back in the day I used to basically use the candle to show me what's coming up, and then I would go to the Hakiashi to clean it up and get more focused, right? But I don't teach that right now because then it's like you're swapping between candles. Remember we used to do that? Remember I used to be like, use Haki Nashi on the 1 to 3 minute and regular candles on, you know what I mean? And then when you were getting ready to trade, that's because when you would find the trade on the regular candle, you went back to the 1 to 3 and you would go to the Haki Nashi, which would clean it up anyways, and then it would fix what you were looking at. You see what I'm saying? I just got rid of it.
Yeah, and I'm pissed because I use them all the time. I for some reason I got like 5 trading view windows open, and the
Right,
one
yeah.
that I happened to put RPL in was the only one that was switched over. I don't know. Maybe last
You're
night
good,
I
bro.
was going a bit back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't even know, but like I switched to all my other windows, and I was like, they don't even have normal candles as an option because I normally don't even have it on my thing. That's why I'm kind of bummed and I feel.
No,
bad
you're
about
good,
it.
bro. You're good.
Yeah.
I mean, and the guys, if you're learning in here, guys, you got to remember when you're learning and someone's teaching you something, your job is to. I know these guys win a lot of trades, but when you're in a trade with them, when you first start, you just because it's someone that's always winning, it doesn't mean bet your bag. Okay, what it means is stay in your system, right? If you normally do a $10 bag or a 20, you can do a 30, but don't do 200, right? So the reason why is because you have to earn the right to trade a bigger bag, right? And how you earn it is you save up to earn it, right? This is what it's all about. This is how you just have to be disciplined, right? So if these guys are showing you a trade, you're still using your regular. So if you're normally right now you're doing a $10 bag, and these guys are working with you, do a $20 bag, right? But you do not like put in don't take the fucking mortgage money because VC's in the trade, you know. All right, we'll let you know, right? I mean, like when it's time to put the mortgage up, I will let you know when shit's like ready to go, right? But see,
If
I don't know where I'm gonna sleep tonight, Boogie.
If we ever on TikTok Live, we should have code words, man, because I notice you kind of get quiet on some things, and I understand you don't want to give away the secrets on TikTok. We should have code words or something.
No, I mean, because it's just, you have to, this is all about, like, it's all about earning the space, right? Like, you guys will see me trade, and I'm like, that's why I tell guys when I'm on TikTok and I'm talking to people, I'm kind of like, what up, baby? David.
Yeah.
Yo, David, what
Yeah.
up, brother? And I'm always trading, right? And I'll take random trades, and guys are like, oh, I thought you were in a trade. Well, I'm in a trade, but it's not an actual trade. I was looking at a trade, and my guys were trading, and I just put money in it to see what the percentage was going to do, right? It's like I'm not really trading, right? So if you see me lose $200-$300, it doesn't mean shit to me because I'm going to make $600-$700 on the next trade I make. So I'm just kind of like, I'm just testing shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I'm trying to understand, like, while we're getting around, I need to see, like, can we win? And the one thing that I always say, like, it's terrible, but even if we fuck up a trade 100 different ways, we still win, right? And that's why I was trying to get people to understand, like, we can be really, really confident in the trades that we do because they win all the time. And we don't need to rush. We just need to be patient, right? Like, we just need to wait for it to line up. Now, if you want to get good at being like the guy who grabs a fucking wick, well, then you do this shit right here. You learn the two tops of the wicks, and you set a fucking buy at 27.83, and you would have caught that bastard right there, and you'd have been like, yeah, that's the way to do it, right?
And 4 hours later, you're rich.
Yeah, and this thing is just rolling, right? But, I mean, at the end of the day, that's the guy who's in there. Now, for me, I'm watching this moon rejects, right? Pulls down. So what I'm going to wait for after it pulls down, I want one more confirmation that rejection is solid, right? Meaning that I need this to either give me a little more volume or start to come down. So after I see that rejection, now I start to go through the steps, right? Which is what? Very first thing is I don't trade against the 15 minute. What's the 15 minute doing? Going up. So I know I'm not in a short here, but I know I'm going to have a pump. Now the thing here is I just got a green trend on the 15 plus my 3 minutes still green, right? So I have a green moon, a green trend, right? So red moon, green trend. So this could possibly give me one more green moon on the 15, which could spike me back up to my set 27.83, right? That's what I'm looking for, right? I never, remember, be greedy, right? You have to, it's kind of like a mindset like this, right? You can never miss a trade. You have to start beating this into your head. You'll never miss a trade, right? If you're not in a trade, you can't win or lose, right? But if you take your fucking time, like, so and this is something Boogie can tell you, right? He's getting really close to fucking mastering this shit, and it's just the ability. Once he like puts all these little things together, and he's like, you know, okay, all right. And I was like, I looked at Boogie's trade, and I was like, imagine if Boogie would just, every time he learns something, like when he gets to the end and he's super patient and he's just waiting and he's got his $2,000 bag. I mean, that 500% gain the other day with a 2,000, that's a $10,000 run.
Sheesh.
Right? And that's one trade. I don't think Boogie would be like, after making a trade like that, I don't think he'd be in a hurry to make another trade. Right? So once you start seeing those,
I'm gonna make a disclaimer here. I got there, and I finally got to big bag status, or at least the biggest time for me, and I made I don't know, it was like I had a stop loss set, and then it wicked, and it didn't register, and it took my whole bag. And it was like after 4 or 5 days of just solid trading, doing everything I was supposed to do, and I had my stop loss set, and it didn't take it, and it took my whole bag. And I was like, I know this is the trade, and I did it again, and it did it to me twice in a row, and it took my entire bag, 100% of it, and it was the most I'd ever lost in trading, and I was really pissed, and it kind of took my confidence away. So once I had gotten to that, like trading $2,000 in one trade, where I was like, now I've seen I've tasted what it's like to get 30% and be like happy with that.
yes.
So now I'm trading with smaller bags, trying to build that back up again, instead of dipping into my reserves.
Right.
That I'm still, now I'm like, I want to make $400 every trade. So now I'm like, I'm stretching to get 150% out of every trade now, and I'm missing my 50s. So it was a little psychological hit, and just for the boys in here to understand that you gotta stay patient no matter what happens.
And you're gonna, I mean, Boogie, you know what I love about it is Boogie right now is going through like the shittiest market in the world, and he's like, he's going from $50 to $2,000, and then he's getting fucked over and losing $4,000, like and he's building it back up, right? This whole time he's becoming a goddamn Marine, right? He has no idea that in the next 6 months we hit a bull run. He's going to make a trade with 2,000-3,000. He's going to see 50 grand on the other side. He's going to be like, Jesus, I should have just waited for the bull run. But you learn here. This is where you learn, man. Like the other day, we ran XRP up, man. I grabbed the guy. He had $350 left. And I said, all right, man, 100%. We're going long. We're going to 93 cents. He walked out with 5 grand. $350 to 5 grand. I'm like, that's what it's like to be in a bull run. Imagine when guys are going to be putting $2,000-$3,000 in on those type of trades. Like you're going to walk away with 30, 40 grand and just laugh. It's going to be crazy. Like Coinbase right now just got approved to do a fucking you know you guys can't trade on Coinbase, right? Coinbase just got approved to do futures.
No
I thought
way.
I thought they had a little trading section on there.
Not futures. Not like this.
No, it's like kiddie play. Like you convert. You don't. It's not futures.
I got you.
Because they realize they're losing all the money. Yo, what up, baby? They're losing all the money, man, to everybody else, right? And
Yeah,
they're
what was
fighting
it
for
last year? It was like 85 to 90% of all price action across crypto was futures. It
Yeah.
wasn't even people buying and selling coins. It was futures.
Guys, it's dropping, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in there.
He's in there. So that's what I was saying. Those entries that's the entry. Like that's what I want you guys to look at. Is see that how that 1 hour rejects on that moon? Is RLP even in here? Is that on the RPL?
I saw it on CoinMarketCap pumping. That's the only reason I've even heard of it. I've never even heard of this coin before.
You called one out. I don't even know what you called out the other day, man. Something like F-Robot, F-Bot, or something. You're like, check out.
I'm on like a Telegram group where this guy calls out. It's a Binance coin, and he calls out like stuff that pumps.
Yeah.
And like I'm not part of the paid group, so I'll just watch when he's like, yeah, our coin pumps, and then I'll use that to go look for shorts.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Let's see here.
RPL. So, I'm probably going to say what some of us new people are saying. If you could walk us through what you are doing now, I would like to replicate exactly what it is. So, should I go set a stop loss on a short? I'm going to put in probably $20 on that thing.
Yeah, so
and
first
put
thing is,
my
right, okay, so
entry point.
here's your first drop, right? A lot of people see this, right? We see this this is the beginning of the drop. Like, so the first thing here, like I said, I wanted to see a confirmation, right? So my first confirmation is the rejection of the 1 hour, right? But I still have the 15-minute was moving up at that time, right? So that's what I was looking at. Now the 15-minute crossed over. It gave up, right? So now we're looking good. The entry is going to be when you have a 3-minute moon, 3-minute red trend. We just got a 3-minute moon. So this is where, we would be looking to enter. I like for my RSIs to run a course at least one time, at least on the 3-minute or at least the 1 minute, because I want that to happen. So right now the 1 minute's at the bottom. So I would want this 1 minute to push up. What up, reality, though? What, reality? I would like for this to push up, right? And then this is where I would be looking for an entry, right? I'd be looking for an entry when this 1 minute bends back down. And don't forget, right now I'm still in a green 3 minutes, so that's kind of giving me like, as soon as that goes red, we should be looking pretty decent here. But so I'm looking at 2709 was that little peak zone there, and we're good. Hey, bro, we got the new videos up, man. Yo, reality, go to the day one in the Discord, bro. Do you check out the new videos? So right now I'd be looking for the 2708 entries. I'd be looking for 2709. You know what I'm saying? Like we're still confirming. We're still waiting for this RSI on the. So when you say an entry point, this is where I would be looking at here. So I would be looking at the average of the money, right? So 2707 seems to be something it keeps hitting, and it keeps hitting 2709. So those are the points I'd be looking to get in. So I would set a couple buys at 2709, a couple at 2708. Because I want this 1 minute to bounce. I need this 1 minute to bounce up, and when that RSI on the 1 minute comes back down, that's where I would be comfortable with an entry. You know what I'm saying? So.
All right, and so it would be a wick up. We're trying to wick into this thing at 27, whatever number.
Yeah, 2709 would be the bottom of my entry, and then I'd be looking for a 20. Like here, I'd be looking for a little bit higher. Like a 2709 would be my bottom entry, and then I'd be doing like 2710 or 11 or 12. To see if we can get in there. So the first thing that I want to do here is I want at least a 1 minute RSI bounce, right? So I want to see the 1 minute at least bounce one time, and I want to see if it's getting any stronger. And I can see right here. You see how in the 1 minute, you see that boogie?
Yeah.
See how it's breaking down right there. All right, so we're gonna get that little pump there. See, there it is. So it's fighting, it's consolidating. So here's your buy-in right here. See this? This is where you would be looking to buy in. So now you want to see like, okay, how much can this bounce? So these are where you want to look for your entries, right? So right here, it's got a little push here. It had a little 27.12 push. Here's your 27.10. Like these are the entries that we're looking for here. There we go, 14. Now this is where I would be looking to buy in. So you always want to let your RSIs play out. You know what I mean? Let them bounce, let them push, and then you can make your entries on those. So we got a 27.13.
Wait, you entering short here?
We're looking for the top entries of a short. But you gotta let your RSI play out. Yeah, we're on this RPL. It's on its last hurrah.
Yeah, the 1 minute starting to curl up now.
Yeah, look at all the high time frames.
Oh, I thought we were gonna catch that bounce all the way up first before the drop.
No, he's looking at the second entry AA. So that's what we're saying is like if you're looking at this, you got your 15-minute breaking down early, right? Here it goes. This is a second entry. So we're looking for a higher second entry into the bigger pull down, right? So 27.22 area would be your highest entry here if you're looking for a wick. Lowest area would be 27.09. It's kind of like the window of entries. So that, for me right here, would be as soon as I get an example of a weak entry, right, which would be the 15-minute bending down, right? So that gives me my top of my candle right there at the 27.30. And then the 1 hour rejecting the green moon right here, right? So this is kind of like our little section here. So now we're looking for a buy zone in between here. So this is where you would be. This is your second entry area, right? Top over here is going to be 27.30. Bottom is going to be 27.11-ish. So you'd be taking like a 10% entry at 27.09, 27.12. Those two already hit. So now you'd be sitting here waiting for the next entries, which would be whatever this next push is. If it can get a little bit higher for you, 27.15. But that's what we're watching right now because we're waiting for this 1 hour to break down and cross over. And that would begin the highest point possible for this little entry here. Because you still have the 2 hour going in there. So this is what I'm saying. If you're doing a second entry here, a lot of times, guys, for me it's like, I think this is kind of like, and I'll show you guys, I think here you guys you're getting a little aggressive. And it's an entry point that can happen if you're tracking it. But for me, I'm like, I know, right? Like I know this is gonna tumble at least down to this level here, this other candle here, right? So no matter what, where it's currently sitting, it has a 300% gap, right? So like here's your first candle and the bottom of this candle, right? That is normally a support line, even these bottom of these wicks on the 2 hour, you see those? So if I took the price that it currently sits at, and I go to the bottom of these wicks, there's a 2.6% gap, right? So that means that in between this area, I have 250% worth of gains, right? And I only need 50. So this is why when we're getting into these trades, it's like, man, we have all day to sit this out. Like we can be super patient. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're shooting these, it's a great entry if you catch the top of these wicks up here. You'd be super happy if you would have set your 27. What do we have? 27.83. You caught the top of that wick again, right? And I think what happens, you start looking at these areas here, and you see the 1 hour starting to bend, and this is the area that you get aggressive in, right? But this is kind of like no man's land, right?
BC, Are we waiting for the 3 minutes?
Yeah. Don't
stop?
enter a short yet. Yeah, you want to like you can't. So that's what I was saying. Like the guys who are getting in these areas here, we still don't have a 3-minute red trend, right? So don't enter a short yet. Don't enter a short yet. We're just kind of going through the example of, trying to catch a second leg in, right? And for me, it's like this is the first sign of a weakness, right? Which would have been when I seen that bend, I'd be trying to catch a little bit higher up in here, 27.30. But if you're patient and you're just sitting here, you still have plenty of room here, right? This is going to push back up again somewhere in here. I don't expect this to break down until I see some type of movement inside of not the 2 hour, right? I want to see movement on the 3 hour, right? Because remember, what I'm really waiting for is what? The 4 hour, right? So right here, if I go to my 3 hour, I haven't crossed yet and it hasn't broken down. That to me, if you're looking for the second entry, when that crosses, that is the entry I want to take on my second. If I'm going to go early, right? That's the one that gives me an early look. Because if you're in this little section here, this is where I think you guys are getting caught, and this will get guys like Boogie and everyone their cost average buying in here. That's kind of like their thing that they'll put in here. They'll cost average buy, but this thing can jump really, really quick here. And that's kind of like the thing that happens to a lot of trades. Right? You want to be very careful because you can get caught in that. Now, can this fall really quickly and give you, a bunch of big gains? Yeah, you can catch some real big gains. But I think what happens is, if you guys catch really big gains on some of these, eventually down the road, you kind of like, you put that as the trade versus waiting, right? So this is where the discipline comes in. It's like, all right, don't look at a trade that you got, you were able to balls out on and fight it off. Look at the trade and say, okay, man, if I would have just waited, I wouldn't have to buy all that in. I could have just got bigger entries in later, and it was a lot safer for me, and I made money. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. It's just getting to the point where if we're just patient, we don't get caught in these trades, and that's why I think with Boogie and them, they do a lot of cost average buying in here because they know it's going to be a good trade, but we have to get to where it's like, all right, man, let's just wait until this trade is done, right? And I think this trade is going to hit that tap. It's going to tap again 27.80 or so, right? Because none of this is set up. And that's how quick you guys can get into a trade. You can see something breaking or coming down, and then it's like, oh, okay, this looks like it's going to roll, right? But we still need a 3-minute green trend. We don't have any of the momentum on the 3 hour, right? So for me, I love just to wait for everything to roll in my direction. If you want to catch this trade, then you're gonna be looking at this high mark. You're gonna be looking at this big boy and say, okay, I'm gonna set a buy at 27.80, and if it hits the 27.80, I made the greatest entry ever. But for us, we still need a 3 hour. We still need everything to come down. This thing still wants to run, and I think when you cost average buy, it might be too much buying in there. Does that make sense?
They're
Yeah,
cutting
one
it
of
down.
my problems is I'll be like, all right, this one's gonna be a short, and then I don't wait for it to curl more than I want it to. And then I'm excited because like I finally found one with all the high time frames topped and curling, but they're not quite ready there yet, and I get caught sometimes with that last hurrah because I feel like I found a gem. Right? Sometimes it takes a while to find a good one, and then when you find a good one, but it's not quite there yet. It's like the last little thing I need to be more patient on is.
Yeah, so that's exact right. So that's what I'm going over with, right? What I'm saying is, it's okay. So it's just like, I think we focus on the emotional trade, where we're always talking about the emotional trade of not making the trade correctly or panicking when we're in a bad position, and the emotional that, right? But the real emotional trade that gets you in trouble is when you get excited, okay, and you jump, right? And you're not focusing on the basics, right? And the basics is if I'm just patient, right, and it's always covering this, how much do I need to make on this, right? I need to make 50%, right? Because you always have to think like this, right? And this is kind of what, think as if you were trading $4,000. 50% on 4,000 is $2,000, right? 30% is $1,200. Now, if you made a $1,200 trade every time you made a good trade, once a day, once every other day, let's say you do 5 a week, let's just say you do 4 a week, are you going to be unhappy with $5,000 a week? I mean, who's unhappy with $5,000 a week?
Yeah, I'll take that.
See that?
Hey, Mason, real quick, man. Like, tell me if I'm seeing this right. Like, even though the 15 and the 30 is pointing down, right, the volume is high on the 15 and the 30, which gives it more of a probability to spike up to that 84 entry, which sometimes when I've seen that, that's usually what happens in that last little push before the drop. Is that what I'm thinking? Because I see the 5-minute is about to curl over, which could reverse the 15-minute RSI, a little bit more, and then come back down.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yeah. That's why. So the thing is, when we first see this, right? We go through the checklist, right? Checklist is 4.5 line, right? So like you guys are looking at charts all the time. You guys are looking at coins. If somebody posted that this RPL is going to be a short, right? The only thing I do really is I go to the 15-minute. I look at the 4.5, right? That's not a short yet. So I know I have time. The second thing I do is go, okay, do I have a 15-minute red moon? Oh, okay, this is getting interesting. This is just letting me know it's getting interesting, right? So now that I see that, I slide to my 30-minute, right? And I look for a red moon. You see, I don't have a red moon, you see? So I can't override the volume, right?
Right.
You got, these should be on your guys' fucking computer, like on sticky notes, right? There's a short. Is the volume below? So I mean, fuck everything else. There's a short, right? Because I know the steps are 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, etc., right? But here's the fucking checklist to even care, right? Is the volume below 4.5? Negative. Is there a red 30-minute moon? Negative. Is there a 1 hour red moon? Yes. This shit is getting close. Now that I see that, I go, okay. Then I slide to the 4 hour. Because I want to see what trade I'm in. Am I in an A trade? I'm in a B trade. This is going to be a B trade. We haven't closed the gap yet, but this is about to be the trade that I want to see. It's getting nice. I look at my 3 hour. That is touching, getting ready to cross. We're looking we're close. We're within an hour of this trade. Then I see my 2 hour already had the first pullback, right? There's the first pullback. It's going for the second touch and the next cross. So I know this is going to be a big trade. So now I'm geared in. Like, okay, boom, we got this, we got that. This is a good trade. But you see how I got there? So these might be the way, this might be the way to quickly do a check, right?
Wait, start over. So, once you had those RSIs...
Go here. Try this.
Moon?
So go like this, right? Somebody posted in the Discord, there's a possible short, right? Or you just look at a coin. Let's say I pull up RPL. Let's say you see RPL was pumping, right? And you slide over to RPL, the very first thing you should go to is your 15-minute. Okay? Because the very first thing before you can even get a short, you need volume below 4.5. You see what I'm saying? Now I look here, I don't have it, but I have a red moon. That's a signification that there's a possible short coming. So now I'm like, oh shit, okay, do I have a 30-minute red moon? Why? A 30-minute and a 1 hour will override the volume on a 4.5. So I don't have my 30-minute red moon, right? But it's starting to curl down. See that? So now I'm like, okay, I don't have a red moon yet, so my volume's too high, so it's not a short. Let me look at my 1 hour red moon. I have my 1 hour red moon. This lets me know that we already had the first pullback of the beginning of, so this is the last, they started taking profits which means the next time it pushes will be the next time they finish taking profits. So this is a good sign. Red moon, here we go. Now I have to get into a position of the short. So now what I need to do is I need to slide down, and I'm going to be entering a short on a 30-minute red moon. That's going to be my entry. So now that that's all lined up, now I want to go over the main thing, which is, all right, where's my 4 hour? All right, my 4 is out the top. Beautiful. Where's my 3 hour? It's about to cross. Beautiful. This thing's already closing in. The 2 hour had its first pullback. Now it's going to go to retouch and come down. Man, we're really close. Where's the 1 hour? Oh, it just crossed over. This is getting really, really nice right now. So now, once again, I already know my entry is going to be when this 30 minutes starts to get a red moon. That's the entry. Why? Because
I was just saying it looks like it's gonna go up based on everything that we're seeing
Yeah.
at
So
the
the other part of the other part of the entry is going to be this, right? You're going to wait. The only thing that's going to make this jump is going to be a 15-minute green moon. All right. So when this 15-minute green moon hits and it pushes, I'm going to be looking for the top of that to be my entry for my short, right? If it hits the 15-minute and rejects the green moon, that's going to be another example of me to start looking for an entry at that time. See what I'm saying? Expect the 15-minute moon, rejection or clarification. Either way, this has to touch that. Okay? But that's how you can get through a trade really quick, because no matter what, right here we can't enter anything because we do not have the volume where we want it. Now, this pullback here, right? Let's take a look at this pullback on the 2 hour, right? So this little section here.
Do you ever get a short with a 15-minute green moon and everything else is or should
No.
there always be a red moon?
There'll always be a 15-minute red.
All right,
Yeah, or I'll wait on it.
gotcha.
Right. So like here,
It's from my man.
yeah, here,
Yeah,
and this is going to show you an example right here, right? So if we look at that basic 2 hour pullback, right, which is what we have in that little area. This is the basic 2 hour pullback right here. Let's go open this up a little bit. I'm going to make this thicker. And make this taller.
Your sound's cutting out really bad there, sir.
Sorry about that, brother. All right, so here, let's slide to the 2 hour, right?
After we make our profits on this trade, we all chip in for a new headset for.
I was thinking that a while ago. I'd buy
I,
the
you
sucker for
bastards.
it.
I got a good one. I got to go get a new one. I think it's the PC, man. I don't think it can handle, because right now, I'm...
Internet upgrade.
Just so you know,
I got,
vital information is cut out, so
Yeah,
there's
I know.
parts of what you're saying we're not hearing.
well, that's why I
That's why
repeat. That's why I'm always repeating, right? So in this candle here, we're going to look at the 2 hour, pullback, right? That's kind of what we're looking at. So we do have where the 2 hour breaks down, and we can see here in the big picture that the 2 hour crosses in this area over here, right? And I'm gonna open this up a little bit, and I'm gonna put it here where it bounces up. That's our 2 hour move there. There's the first pullback in that zone, and we have that little section right there. That's where the 2 hour comes over. Now when we look at that on the overall, slide to the 1 hour, we can see in this little pocket here that 2 hour is bending there, right? You can see here, you see how we have a 1 hour red moon right there?
Yeah, and this is a good example because the 2 hour doesn't always cross back up for a hoorah. Like maybe on the 1 hour and they're 45 or 30, but for a 2 hour cross back up, you can see that that's why the 1 hour, or I'm sorry, the 2 hour green moon got rejected, because it was that's all it was just a hoorah. It wasn't actual like a gain in buying pressure. It was just a hoorah. That's it.
That's
right?
it. Correct. And this is what I was talking about. Like here we have a 30-minute red moon. Here we see the 2 hour start. You see what I'm saying? The red moon lets you know something's coming. The 2 hour breaks down. that is an example where you could have jumped on this trade, the entry off of in here. Now let's take a look at the value. Slide to the 15-minute, right? Because that's what we're always looking at. This is what I'm talking about. The volume here is above the 4.5, right? But what do we have at this moment here? We have the 15-minute breaking down. We have the 2-hour breaking down. We have a 15-minute red moon letting us know that something's coming. The 2-hour breaks down, the 1-hour red moon. Now as we go through it all, we can see that we have all the moons, 15, 30, and then boom, the 1 hour is the go one, right? Here's your 1 hour, there's your go sign right in there, that's your buy, right? And that's how you can work the moons, right? So they always come in order. Get rid of this here. And that's why I'm saying once you see the moons, see your moons right there, boom, there's your entry. They're going to signify that something's coming. And that's how you can override the volume here on the 15 when you have the moons, right? This is why this trade here, it's below the 4, here's your 4.5 line right here, right? But we would have caught that entry and took advantage of a nice little 100% gain, right? And that's the thing about the trade is that if you're looking at these trades, there's always a 50% trade here, right? For me, is that this is the first pullback, and then what I would like to see on this pullback is I would let the 15-minute run out, right? Remember, I'm always talking about let the 15-minute play out. So here's your 2-hour red moons all hit. Here's your 15-minute, right? This is a trade that guys will take. I'm not going to say don't take it. It could be worth 100 to 200 to 300%. You're going for 50. You will hit this trade every single time. It's not a big deal. It's not a trade that I take because I'm just so disciplined in what I'm looking for, but it's a winning trade. So I'm not going to say don't take a winning trade. It's a winning fucking trade. It's 170%. Right? This is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. Like, we have so many winning trades that we can be picky. I think that's kind of like what I'm trying to say is like, don't worry about missing a trade. There's another one just like it.
Yeah, you need a banner, or like a big fucking red banner that says that.
Yeah, right. That's where I'm at right now. Is like what I'm trying to say is, guys, I know there's winning trades here, and I think sometimes we jump and we take risk and we win because I mean, fuck, the way we're set up, we're supposed to win. We win. If most traders win 6 out of 10 trades, they make 20%, right? We're over here. We do 8 out of 10. 7 out of 10, but we're winning 50 to 100, 200% trades, right? It's like our numbers are way up there, right? So we have the right to be picky. We can be more, safe, right? We can take our time, right? There's really nothing. Now, what I want you guys to get good at, right? And what I want you to get good at is basically, yeah, that's a win, Kaser. What I want you to be good at is to let the 15-minute right there finish its move down. Let it push up, right? And then when it goes back into that downward, that's the trade I want to take. You see what I'm saying? See how that pushed back up and got this big ass wick? When that 15 got up there and got this red moon here, that's the trade I like to take right there, right? And no matter how you played that wick, wherever you were, that's 150% gains. That to me
You're
is
cutting off, I think.
Yeah, so that's the trade. When this first 15-minute goes down, right, because it only went up halfway, this is a winning trade. And remember, I always talk about how I want the 15-minute to be above the 50 line or at least touching it before it comes down for me to consider the trade. Because I need that much more room. Does that make sense? You need room for it to come down. That's the profit zone. From the 50 line to the 100 is the profit zone, right? That makes sense? You guys hear that part?
Yeah, and you never go against the 15, but is there a break in the rule for the 30?
So if we take a look here. Hey, yo, babe. So I'm going to mark this right here. And put this right here. So for me, that comes down to the patience, right? The only time I wouldn't go against it, I would ride the 15 and not the 30 if it's in an A trade and the volume is completely gone.
Got it.
Okay? The only time you trade against the 30 is when the volume is gone. And we can see here we had the 32. So that would have been my trade right there. The 15 and the 30 breaking down, that would have been the trade. Now, using that same scenario, that same philosophy, when you slide across, we're doing the same thing here. Here's your red 15. You let your 15 come down. I would let my 15 go up one more time, and then that would be my trade. You see what I'm saying? So whenever this 15 gets to wherever it's going, in this area here, once it bounces and comes back up, that's where I would be grabbing my next short. Because I want this to hit the 15-minute moon, right? I still need a 30 here. I don't have a 30-minute moon, but that's going to be that next move. I guarantee when that 15 goes all the way up and comes down, we'll see that 30-minute moon. That's the trade I'm looking for.
Yeah, the 15 rejected once already.
Yeah, yeah. But that so you got to realize, because it's going to consolidate right here, because people are holding. This is no man's land. They haven't given up yet. But you can start, this is that same shit. Remember, like every night we start getting this, and I'm like, I'll start picking off trades up in this area here, 27.30, 27.34. I'll start buying this area here. And this is where, if you're cost average buying, you're getting close to where you want to be now. Because that's, you can see the 30-minute moon starting to curl, right? This is where you want to kind of be here. What I want to see is, I want to see that 15-minute come down or come up one more time, but the next time it gets to the 100 and starts to come down, that's going to be my entry. Right? And I'm pretty sure at that point I'm going to have a 30-minute moon. But it's right there. Because I already had my first pullback. Now this is the push. Now this is the next move right here. This is the next pullback. So I'm just waiting for the hurrah. Now if you're tracking it, once you had that pullback right here, and it comes up, that's how you know that you'd be buying off these wicks right here on the 30-minute. At 27.45. This is the area that you would be buying in, 27.40, 27.45, and you'd be sitting pretty here. If you were tracking it earlier, you would have said buys at 27.80, and you'd be sitting with 150% gains right now, laughing because it's about to give you another 200. And these you'll be able to get as you continue to trade. You'll be able to set these limit buys, and then these limit buys will become bigger gainers, right? But like I said, like these are fun. These just keep you busy, right? But at the end of the day, for me, it's like I'm just gonna wait for that, that 30-minute red moon. I got a 15-minute red moon, so now I need my 30, right? The second thing is, do I have a 1 hour? I already have my 1 hour, which means the 1 hour is going to reject the green, and then that's going to be my move down. But either way, the only thing I'm missing for my short here is my 30-minute red moon. And unless something changes where the 15-minute becomes green, or the 1 hour becomes green, the only thing I'm waiting for is a 30-minute red moon. That makes sense?
And will you touch, before you leave that area, the 15-minute went to a green trend, but like I just don't see why. And it never got a 15-minute green moon. Is it because it never got a moon that it really didn't matter for that trend? And we should be more worried about moons than trends?
Yeah. So like when we got that 15-minute trend change, right? That was just that spike there. We got a nice spike. but there's no continuation. So when you seen that spike happen, this turned green, right? And you notice how like the 15 turns green here, and it starts to pump up, right? When you seen it reject right there, it start to come down. If you were watching that, you would have. This is where you would have started buying in, because you noticed that you didn't even get close to a green moon.
All right, thank you, because that's where I did. I was just hoping you said that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the thing is that sometimes we love getting like better at our craft, and it's like, you know, at the end of the day, you got to remember, like, I'm trying to get out of the you know, like sharpening up the ability to cheat the system, and I'm trying to get to the point where it's like, guys, if we just sit back and say fuck it, I'm just gonna wait for it to just say go, right? Then if I'm trading a $4,000 bag and I only need 30%, I've got all the fucking, you understand? You see what I'm saying? When you have a $3,000 or $4,000 bag and you need 30%, right? Think about how much cushion we have, right? It's like we don't have to get that perfect entry. We don't have to hit the support and resistant entry. We don't have to touch the double top entry, right? Because the goal is this, right? The goal is to never be at risk. The only way to never be at risk is to be in an entry that has no risk, right? I don't want to catch the trade that's, you know, getting to the very top and it's about to fall over. I want to catch the trade that's plummeting. You see what I'm saying? And how I scale my money is I put more money in so I can take shorter percentage wins. Because right now, this is a great entry if you're a trader, right? Because remember, let me say it like this. Most good traders win 6 out of 10 trades, right? Because they're trying to get the tops of each move, right? But I'm not trying to teach you guys to be good traders. I'm trying to teach you to never lose a trade. There's a difference. I want to jump on the snowball already falling. I don't want to get to where it's on the tippy top and it might have a little more juice. I want to catch where where it's already fallen down. That's
and I'm gonna just make sure that gets like hammered home. Is that's where that's the only time I lose is when I catch it just a hair too early, and I used to be like, well, fuck that, and then I'll walk away from the trade, come back an hour later, and be like, now you decided to go. Whereas like, and so
right.
Now I'll be like, well, shit, if I lose one, then I'll just double my bag and I'll make it way back more because I knew I was ready for it. I just got in too early. So everyone, you gotta be just wait for the trade to happen and don't worry about that 10-20% of move.
Yeah, you don't.
Like no one catches the tops.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah, that's the same with match.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, guys. Like,
always trying to get the tip and get the biggest amount out of it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the best way. And I think I like that analogy of the snowball. Wait till the snowball's big and heavy and it's going down faster. I like that.
We did. Remember, that's what we're like. We'll scale money by scaling our bag. We don't need that. We want to say that if I wait all damn day, can I get 50%? Yes, we've proven it over and over. Like, you guys look at the fucking board, man. When you guys go to your board, it's like all you see is fuckers guys posting like, all right, we're averaging 62%. 100. Fucking Gus over here with 1800%. What the fuck was that? Then you got guys 400%, Boogie 500, 14. I mean, it's ridiculous. 180, 55, 100, 115, right? 30% of 4,000 guys. It's $1,200 fucking dollars. See what I'm saying? We don't need to be perfect. What we need to be is always winning. never lose a trade. That's where we need to be. How do we never lose a trade? We don't jump until it's falling. That's
Yeah,
the
what's
key.
the biggest thing they say? I mean, if this is about longing, but you never buy a green candle.
Right. You never buy a good right. So that's really like at the end of the day, it's like you will never be caught off guard by the last wick because you were waiting until it was done. It's like we don't want to take a wounded trade. We want the trade literally bleeding to death. Right? And that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for it to bleed to death. It's not ready, right? And we need everything to be there. We need the 15-minute red. We need the 30-minute red moon. We don't have it. We're not in this trade, right? Boom. I mean, there's little things. That's why we have all those things that, you know, remind us like, hey, at the end of the day, we don't need to get in the trade. And I think like a lot of times when we look at these trades, we evaluate, you know, how to trade and what you can do. And I think a lot of that's my fault because I'm showing you guys how to catch like support and resistance lines, but you know, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, that's why you see me getting it to where it's like less and less information because we don't need to know that shit. Right here, all I need to know is when is this going to be done, right? And I'll know that when the 15-minute rejects again or turns green, right? Either way, I know this trade is over when I have a 15-minute red, 30-minute red, and a 1-hour red, and the RSIs are heading down. That's when I know it's over. I don't want to make a trade unless it's that. Because all I want to...
levels is more like low leverage trading. When we're high leverage, use the indicators that you have designed for it.
Yeah.
I got confused when I first started out because I was trying to add all the other things that I'd learned in the past, different systems, different techniques. You know what I mean? Like high leverage is the different. It's riskier, so you need to make sure you have all the risk taken out before you jump.
Well, yeah, it's not only like, you know, so it's like high leverage is risky if you don't know what you're doing. But the beautiful thing about high leverage is it's really not risky if you understand what it is, right? It's like this, right? Is it risky to fight a bull, right? So if I said, yo, guy, we're going to a bull fight. All right, Boogie, you're first. That's pretty risky, right? Now, if I send out Boogie, Gus, Carlos, you guys stab the bull, and there's 20 swords in the bull, and he's on the ground, right? And I say, all right, I got it now. Am I at risk? You see what I'm saying?
And put a bag on it.
Yeah. Like at that point, if the bull's been stabbed 8 times and he's got, you know, one broken leg, all right, guys, I'll take it from here. Now we're all in a bullfight, right? Except you guys had real risk because you went in when it was hot. I can say I fought a bull and be like, yeah, we all fought a bull that day, except I fought him with 3 legs. That's where you gotta be. That's what you gotta understand. What time's it take? Right. So that's kind of the way that's what high leverage is about. High leverage is about, you know, it is not risky if you're using it when everything's ready to go. It's only risky when you go in first.
Last stab is a 30-minute red moon.
You understand what I'm saying? Think of it like this.
Before you get jumped in, I got a question. We were talking about the 30-minute red moon disappearing on us from time to time. Well, all the factors line up: the 2, 4, 1, the 1 hour there, and then you go to the 3-minute to make sure that it's there, so that the 15-minute can print. Waiting on that. That I've noticed that 30-minute red moon prints some bars behind you. And then that makes me feel like I was 3 days late into the trade. Can you address some of that?
So send me a message on there, like, or give me an example of a trade, and then we'll go back and look at it.
All right, I have it completely mapped out. I mean, I can show you in detail what I'm talking about.
Let's do. I gotta hop off right now, but I will look at that. Let's do that tomorrow.
Sounds like a game plan.
I like it. But you understand what I'm saying, guys? We use high leverage so that we can be patient. That's the point of high leverage.
Give a little bit of an explanation about the 30-minute move. What happens is, you know that it crosses over, crosses back, rejects, it will flick on and off. What happens is while you're on that current bar,